going on, big ballers? Welcome back. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I hope your pants don't fit. Welcome back to another week of fantasy football fumble. It's your boy MJG here, and I'm live with Joe Birdman. How you doing today, my brother?
Doing very well, Manny. I had a great Thanksgiving. I'm back up above 200 pounds. Feels great. And I'm really looking forward to this week of football. I'm, hanging on in a couple leagues, at the top of a couple leagues, and at the very bottom of a couple others, just like last time we spoke. So staying in the mix where it belongs.
Oh yeah, I definitely hear that. I'm I think I'm officially I have a 1% chance in my main league. I think I unless the three guys that are fighting for seventh spot in front of me end up losing two in a row, I'm pretty much out of those. And that's asking for a lot. So,
I'm in
you
I'm
know.
in dead last in one of your leagues. Like 2 games back
Hey.
from the very bottom.
Yeah, it happens, man. It
It's
happens.
brutal,
I
man.
mean, I've seen crazier stuff happen, but I mean, these guys. I mean, they've gone on some runs. So I don't think the guys in front of me are going to lose two in a row. Three guys to lose 2 games in a row. I mean, some of them have some easy games, so I doubt that's going to happen. Hey, but I've seen crazier things happen. The other two leagues I am 10-2 in. Those are, of course, my Christian McCaffrey leagues. And if those of you tuned in earlier this season and actually paid attention to our rankings instead of these other guys, you would see that we had slightly different rankings. Everybody else was Justin Jefferson and get Jamar Chase, right? Like everybody remembers that in the beginning of the season. And we're not trying to toot our own horns, but I remember my top three. I remember I had CMC, I had Tyreek Hill, and I had Justin Jefferson. And those were my top three. And I know you were somewhere around there as well, Joe. I think
Yeah,
you
I think
Justin Jefferson. You were Justin Jefferson, CMC, and then who was your other guy? Jamar
uh,
Chase.
no, I had Tyreek as third as well. Those are the
Perfect.
same three, but I should have had McCaffrey first, and I kept going back and forth with Justin Jefferson, McCaffrey. Just one of them on my shoulder, and the other on the other shoulder, just going back and forth. But I always talk about the running back position and how there's just more value season long in a solid running back core. That's why I always try to load up. And we've seen some wide receivers come out of nowhere. It happens every season. This season's no different. We've seen like 10 or 12 guys that just climbed from the bottom. You didn't even know their name, and look at them now. So uh there's obviously running backs that do that too, but you were high on McCaffrey. He is the best fantasy football player, has been for years. If he's healthy, there's no one else and he's exciting to have on your team. There's no one else that you look forward to more than McCaffrey being on your team.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you're right. Those players, if they're healthy, CMC, Tyreek Hill, I was very like, it was such a hard choice. I mean, just like you, I think if I sat at number one overall, I think that's the hardest pick to have because you had that devil on your shoulder, right? Is it Justin Jefferson or McCaffrey if you were most? I mean, I've seen a lot of people. McCaffrey felt to me at picks number 5 and 6. So people really did not respect him coming into the league. And so did Tyreek Hill. He was average ADP of 6 pick overall. That's because all these experts had him pick later. I know my brother-in-law, Ryan, he's a Miami fan, but he's also a big metrics guy. And he's always been somebody that's been huge on Tyreek Hill over the years. And rightfully so, the guy just really performs. But it's just like the way that people see fantasy is so everyone sees it, tries to copy each other's styles. I think when it comes to you have to see it differently. You're right. Running back position is hard to predict sometimes, but it is very valuable. And if you invest in a good one, you go far. Like you invested in. I mean, you didn't even invest heavily in Kyron Williams,
Yeah, I
and
got lucky with
he
him,
worked out
but
great for you.
yeah, I'm in
I
one
mean, you got
league.
multiple stocks, and he proved dividends for you. You got him late, and he's been a fantasy winner.
With that league I'm at the top, it's largely in part due to having 4 rock solid running backs on my team, and I have legit receivers too, but I stumbled onto those legit receivers. I grabbed a couple guys that you weren't expecting to be as good as they are. I got Kirk in that league. I got him late. I got Mike Evans in that league. I got him late too. So those are my 2 starting wide receivers. And Kirk's not the guy that's putting up 20 plus, but he's getting you 15 every week pretty much. So I'm totally cool with having those as my starting 2 wide receivers, and then having 4 rock solid running backs to mix up with the flex position. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, we got a lot of buys this week and a lot of injuries. So let's get into it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Buys this week. Some major ones: Bills, and Bears. Obviously, those are some guys there. We're going to be missing DJ Moore, Justin Fields for the Bears. Bills, obviously, Josh Allen's been winning some matchups by himself for 30 to 40 points a game. That guy's been balling.
Yeah.
What are some major teams you're going to be missing by weeks?
Well, let me bring up who we got here.
Vikings, Ravens. Do you have any share of the Ravens?
I do have Lamar in one league, and obviously he will be missed. But I have Goff as my backup, so that's not a bad place to be.
Definitely.
And then
We also have Giants, Raiders. I know you were talking about Jacoby Myers.
yeah, I have Jacoby in one league, but I don't think I was going to play him. Of course, I benched him last week, and he had a great game. But
Finally.
yeah, but
He bounced
there's going to
back.
be some people missing Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams this week as well. And then as far as
Well,
injuries, is that everyone we got on the bye? Who else we have on the bye?
that's it, man. I mean, we mentioned everybody. Vikings, no one to miss there except Justin Jefferson. I mean,
And
he comes back
Hawkinson.
next week, right? Hawkinson.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson's going to be back next week. So that's cool, I guess. I don't know who they're playing at quarterback, but it's probably going to be Dobbs. They're talking about playing somebody else, but it's most likely going to be Dobbs.
It's the best option.
Absolutely, it's the best option. I don't know why they change it up.
But injuries for the Colts, Jonathan Taylor out for possible multiple weeks. So Zach Moss stock back up. Everybody's,
Way up.
he's probably a free agent that people are picking up, right?
If you're lucky, you could pick him up, or you did already. But I'm sure a lot of people held on to him just for this reason, because he was. I did too. Yeah, I did too. I mean, I had John. I actually traded to get Jonathan Taylor, and then he went down. But luckily, I have Moss too, so totally
Smart.
comfortable plugging in Moss. I'm actually a little more excited about playing Moss. And
Yeah.
one thing that he did in week 5, I mean, yeah, seriously, Jonathan Taylor was just like, not very efficient and not fun to watch.
Until last game. He looked good last game.
Yeah, and I mean,
He looked real
fantasy
good.
wise, he's going to get you the numbers, but so I wrote something down that is very interesting about
Well,
Zach Moss. Tennessee in week 5, he racked up
oh,
195 total yards and 2 touchdowns. That's who he's playing this week. I know it's not going to be the same game, but if it's similar, that's a lot of points. So,
he also had a receiving touchdown that game. He had 35 points that game,
damn,
Zach Moss.
I didn't know he had
Yeah,
a
he went
receiving
off that
touchdown.
game. That was his
I
best
know he
game of
had
the
2.
season against Tennessee. So, and now he's first game starting. Zach Moss is a free agent after this year, ladies and gentlemen, and he just got put on the back burner the last 2 games like he was a toy on a shelf. Like tennis right now, Indianapolis did Zach Moss so dirty. They did not trade him at the deadline, and they paid Zach. And this is the GM for that team, Vic Ballard, was playing hardball with Jonathan Taylor. That's why that whole drama started.
Yeah.
And guess what? Now he said, "All right, JT, I was fucking around the whole time. Here's your contract. Okay, Zach Moss. Now we're going to devalue you and we're going to give you a 2-year, $3 million contract to be our backup." And Zach Moss is going to be like, "Screw you guys. I'm going home."
That's right. He'll get
See you
paid.
guys.
He'll go somewhere and get paid,
You know
and
where he's going?
he's going to be on the
He's gonna be our
spotlight.
backup.
That would be awesome, man. He'll be
I
in
would
the
love him for
spotlight
Philly.
though the next couple weeks. He's going to be all eyes on me, so that'll be fun.
This is his audition. You think right now he's going to look at it like this next 2 or 3 weeks are like possibly my last chances to shine in the year, and maybe I'll get a couple playoff shine if JT gets injured. And he's going to look at it like whatever team sees me play, I'm going to get paid after this. So it's my last. This is going to be my chance to get a big paycheck, and I gotta be the starter. I gotta be the guy. So I'm expecting, like, I have Zach Moss right now, and I'm dangling him in front of people, see what they're willing to pay for him. But I am salivating at the opportunity of starting him right now.
Yeah, I
And
would
if
hold
you
on
if you're
to it.
doing daily fantasy, like, bro, it's 4,600 on DraftKings. Every one of your, I don't care what lineup you're running, run Zach Moss in every single lineup. I don't
Absolutely,
care. Every
absolutely.
variation has to have Zach Moss in it for 4,600, and freaking Tyreek Hill. Right now, he's playing against what team is Miami playing against? Hold on 1 second. They're playing against a terrible
Commanders.
team, the
No, wait.
Commanders.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man,
That's going
so
to be
I
a
love
lot
that.
of throwing. A lot of throwing.
A lot of offense. I even like a couple players on Commanders. Like I would even play
Absolutely. Sam Howell,
Dotson. John,
John
yeah, Sam
Dotson,
Howell could be
maybe.
your quarterback. But honestly, I really like Purdy, man,
Curtis
for
Samuel.
this matchup
Well, hey,
against
wait. We're
against
getting
Philly.
ahead of ourselves. We're going to talk about this
All
later.
right.
Well,
Anyways, I'm getting way too ahead of myself.
one more
Anyways, going
thing.
back to
One
the
more
show
thing
over
that's
here.
notable, though. One more thing I just want to mention with injuries. You've got Michael Thomas on IR, Rashid Shaheed that's doubtful, Chris Olave. If Chris Olave plays, that's going to be a big game for Olave. But if Olave doesn't, then you're just going to be in a bad spot. You're going to have Kamara and maybe Taysom Hill. But
There he is.
but you might get a big game out of Juwan Johnson too. Like you just don't know what's going to happen. But Michael Thomas and Rashid Shaheed are out, so Olave will have a big game if he plays. We'll have to see. But otherwise, yeah, you could plug in Taysom Hill, and you're going to probably get a 10-point day at a minimum, maybe 20.
If you plug in who?
I'm saying if Olave doesn't play, you can kind of lean on Taysom Hill and expect him to have a double-digit day.
I have a side bet going with the viewers that I'm going to drink every time you mention Taysom Hill on the podcast.
You're going to be hammered by the end. You're going to be hammered in 10 minutes.
Taysom Hill. That's 4 times on the podcast.
I'll get to him again.
I'm just
I'm
kidding,
sure
guys.
at some point I'll get to him again.
I'm joking. I love it, man. I love it, man.
Man.
Taysom Hill, you've been, he's not consistent, but you're right. Those big games when they're down 1 or 2 options on offense, Derek Carr and that offensive coordinator, they're gonna get him the ball. Because what other option do they freaking have? It's like, and he could play multiple positions, man. The guy's talented. So
he's a
he
legit
just
running
needs the
back.
scheme to go his way and the matchup to go his way. And that could definitely be a matchup that can
when he gets the opportunities, he makes the most of them.
Anyways,
let's get to our hot matchups of the week. All right, everybody. It's time for our hot matchups of the week, and we have some good ones for you. Manny, why don't you start us off and let us know who your first hot matchup is?
Well, most of you are going to be surprised with this call, but it's going to be the 49ers versus the Eagles. I know the spread only has it at like 47.5, but I mean, obviously it's a bad blood game. There's been a lot of shit talked since the NFC Championship. The 49ers got demolished and they were disrespecting. I'm sure they bought into all the hype since then. The Eagles feel disrespected. They're 10-1. Any Eagles game this season, I've always picked to be high scoring, and they haven't disappointed. They've been some of the best games this season. Like, they just get their ass kicked for the first half and just come back. And as an Eagles fan, I will say that that's how they play. and they won't play any defense first half of the game, and all of a sudden they play lockdown the second half. So that's just kind of how they've been playing. And then the Niners have been playing good football. You know, they
Yeah, they
had that
have.
rough stretch for 3 games where they got their teeth kicked in by the Browns and a couple other teams, and they've adjusted the last couple. And obviously, CMC has been playing great. I still think CMC is going to get a touchdown, maybe two, but he's going to have to fight for it with the Eagles because, I mean, that's the number one rush defense in the league. I know the last 2 games they've been playing, they've been getting gashed on the ground, but I think they focus on McCaffrey for the game plan, and they've also been changing their defense up since they've acquired Kevin Byard 2 weeks ago, anyways. So teams changing the way they play. They play Kevin Byard up in the slot, anyways, the way they used to play Malcolm Jenkins. So you're going to see probably a lot of DB spy on McCaffrey when he moves around. But anyways, I still think that's just going to be a fun game. Debo Samuel's going to get open. George Kittle's going to get open. Ayuk maybe. So it's going to go back and forth, man. It's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, and I think, at the beginning of the season, both defenses looked kind of suspect. The Eagles was better than the Niners at the beginning of the season. Now I feel like the Niners has looked a little bit better than the Eagles. So I expect the offense from both to be really good, to be a little better than the defense, but I don't really know what to expect. I'm not sure what to call it as far as who's actually going to win that game.
Yeah, we'll see who scores more because Niners just lost Hufanga for the season. He tore his Achilles. They're starting safety, so they just got T.J. Ward back there now. So, and their secondary has already been suspect with cornerbacks. So,
Yeah, their secondaries looked bad all year, but they've just recently
that's why their
started playing
pass rush is so good. But I mean, Eagles pass rush hasn't been as good. Their front, definitely, I will agree, 49ers front seven is superior than the Eagles, but the Eagles have some really good pass rush too. So I just think the Eagles have a superior quarterback. So and a superior O line. So that's where we're going to excel up front. And we're going to see what happens with the offense, because when it comes down to it, Brock Purdy runs a great game. They have the superior running back, so we're going to see who uses their weapons better. Right, that's who wins that ball game.
But you both do have plenty of weapons, so that'll be awesome. It probably won't be as fun as the Eagles game last week, but that's probably going to be the best game of the year. So, but I can't wait for that. 100% agree with you. I think there's just too many weapons on the Eagles and the Niners for that to be a low-scoring game. So
way too many. It's going to be fun.
And
it's going down.
My first hot matchup of the week is the Dolphins and the Commanders. As we said earlier, there's going to be a lot of throwing in this game. And both defenses are, average at best. The Commanders are pretty bad. The Dolphins, they're okay. But you got Tyreek, Waddle back in the mix. Mostert and A-Chain will probably be changing up, carries, just moving the ball downfield with Tua at the helm. So I think, right there, that says plenty as far as the Dolphins. Now, if they get up a little bit, that's not anything Sam Howell's going to worry about because he throws more than anyone in the entire league. And he's cut Curtis Samuel back 100%. Curtis Samuel was injured and then got 12 targets or something last week and looked incredible, like 100 yards. Logan Thomas, Jahan Dotson, of course, Terry McLaurin. So there's too many weapons on both sides of the ball. And, very similar story as your hot matchup, only these teams don't have a defense. So that's my first hot matchup. And, Jeff Wilson, if you're looking for a reach, like a double flex play, and you need someone, he put up 10 points last week. So you might be able to plug him in, get lucky.
Well, so that running back situation, if people remember, once A-Chan started going off for Miami, they actually stopped using Raheem Mostert for those 2 weeks. That because A-Chan went off for a couple weeks, and then they started giving Raheem Mostert minimal touches, and he actually had 10-point weeks, not single digit, but low scoring weeks. And then obviously he got injured. So, as far as Miami, their defense was starting to look really good the last 1 or 2 weeks, but they actually just lost Jalen Phillips last week for tore his Achilles as well on the turf at MetLife. So
I remember, yeah.
they had another injury, a big blow to their defense. So yeah, it's definitely Commanders are a great offensive team, a horrible defensive team, and then they have one of the highest spreads of the week as well at 49.5. So that's definitely going to be a high scoring game and a big game I would want a piece of. So we could see another record breaking day for possibly a Tyreek Hill that day.
Hell yeah. What's your second hot matchup of the week?
Well, I definitely went with Broncos versus Texans. So that's going to be a big matchup because I think Texans are coming fresh off a loss, right? They just lost to a really good game to the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was really close. They took them down to the field. They kicked a field goal. I think it was like a 50-yarder or something like that, and they almost hit it. It like bounced just short on the goalpost. It hit the middle and bounced back.
Was that
So
the
like,
Texans
and that was
game?
that was the
Dude,
Texans game. Yeah,
dude,
so
yeah.
good.
That
That was a
was,
good game.
yeah, when it went doom right off the fucking center.
Yeah, right in the
Oh
middle of the
my
center of the
God.
goalpost. It hit,
Yeah.
boom, and that was to tie it to send it to overtime with and CJ Stroud drove it down, man. And Trevor Lawrence had a great day, bro. So he just really went
Yeah, he
off, bro.
did.
They Travis Etienne, I'm glad I traded him in that league. I didn't get the right player that I could have gotten CNC and I would have been in the playoffs still, but I traded him one too many times to the wrong guy. But it was a good game. CJ Stroud, I think he's coming off that loss. The Texans are 6-6. They're still scrapping for a playoff spot. So I see him having a big day. And the Broncos, I think they won what, 5 in a row.
Yeah, they're
They
surprising
went from
everybody.
winless,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and I think that magic's gonna wear off, man, because they beat these teams and they beat some good teams, but I think you can only get lucky for so long. And CJ Stroud, I think, is the better quarterback. I think they're the better team overall as Texans, and they look much better. So I could see that being a higher scoring game. They have the same spread as the Eagles, 47.5. So if Vegas thinks it's going to be one of the higher scoring games of the week, I think that more of those points are going to be on the Texans side. And then when I think Russ is going to answer back, even though you think the Broncos are out of a game where they're not going to do much, Russ will score some ugly points,
Yeah,
put it
he's
on
been
the
there
board, keep it
before.
close. Yeah, he always keeps them in the game. So, but I still think that you could see a pretty big day and if they were exposed earlier in the season, I could see that being another high scoring affair and just make it a fun game for Tank Dell. So,
Oh man, I hope he's all right. He's listed as questionable, but I think it's just a maintenance day or something. And then Noah Brown, I think he's out again this week, but he might be back. But once those three get back, man, I mean, CJ Stroud doesn't need three. He's doing fine with just Tank Dell and Nico Collins, but having Robert Woods in the mix and Noah Brown in the mix, I mean, that dude's probably going to be rookie of the year.
oh yeah, he should. He better get it. CJ Stroud's rookie of the year. And you could even make a case for Tank Dell, the guy who's throwing it to, but
Yeah, dude.
it has to be CJ because he's throwing him the ball. He's making it happen. But
Yeah.
defensive player of the year, of course, we all know is going to be the rookie for the Eagles, Jalen Carter. We all know that he's freaking amazing. But yeah, what about you? What's your next hot matchup for the week?
The Seahawks and the Cowboys. And
Ooh.
it could be a one-sided game, and I could be wrong. Dak has been an absolute monster, and CD Lamb, total monster. He's eating so much, he should be like 300 pounds by now. But Pollard's been looking good too. So, you've got the three of them that are going to be putting up points for sure. The only thing I'm wondering is it could be a one-sided game where Seattle doesn't they try to answer, but they don't, just because the Cowboys defense is that good. But if the Seahawks start, just chucking the ball and getting it to DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and scoring points, then the Cowboys are going to answer back pretty quickly, and it could actually be a pretty high scoring game. Now, I wouldn't play Geno Smith, but I would probably play DK. And if you don't have a better option, Lockett. And then, of course, on the other side of the ball, you're playing Dak, you're playing CeeDee Lamb, and you're playing Pollard, like with a lot of confidence, because Seahawks are not going to be able to stop them. And again, if they got to catch up and they actually can answer a few times, then you got a high-scoring game, no doubt. So I'm steering in that direction where the Seahawks are going to have at least a somewhat competitive game, enough where they can stay in it and score points. And I also wanted to say that Charbonnet is a very risky start, but he might be your best option at this point too. So I'm playing him in one league. I don't really have another option.
I would play him against that run defense, definitely. But yeah, I would say this. One thing you could count on is Dallas covering that spread against a struggling team, because that's what they do. Like a good team, they don't cover the spread because they get shellacked. But, a team that's struggling like the Seahawks, I can see Dallas. The game's either going to go two ways, right? Either Dallas is going to completely dominate them and score all the points, like 40 points, or Seahawks are actually going to connect on their passes and actually keep it competitive. Because there's one thing that for sure is going to happen is Seahawks are not going to stop Dallas from scoring. So Dallas is going to score because they are really good offensively. I will admit that for sure. And defensively, they're great. That's why, I think for sure that's going to happen as well. So it's going to be either way, the game's either going to be competitive for Dallas or just a blowout for Dallas. So it's going to go in their favor no matter what. So, but yeah, it's going to be, you play those guys with confidence. You play Dak with confidence. You play, anybody on Seahawks with questionable question marks, because at the end of the day, it's not a confident start. I'm kind of glad I don't have any shares of the Seahawks this year. I really wanted Kenneth Walker. I questioned myself for not grabbing him earlier, but at this point, I'm not too upset about it anymore. I mean, I have some Zach Charbonnets for people that grabbed Kenneth in front of me, and I dangled him as trade bait, and now I'm like, see, I told you this day would happen, and now they want to make a not so tempting offer. I'm like, well, I don't even need that offer anymore. It's already too late. So but yeah, what do you think about?
I think that for the most part, Charbonnet, he'll probably get you like 15 points, maybe 15 points if it's a good game.
12 to 15.
But I'd say I'd probably say like 12 is more realistic, So I'm starting him in one league. I had Kenneth Walker in one league too, and I was really pumped up because at the beginning of the season he was tearing things up. But I started seeing his touches go down a little bit, like 3 weeks in a row. And I was like, something's going on here. Traded him away, and I'm glad I did.
So. Smart. That was a genius move. You got top dollar. I actually tried to trade somebody for him. I'm glad I didn't end up getting him because I would have got ripped off what I was trying to offer.
That's the game.
Name of the game, baby. All right, boys and girls, get your marshmallows out. It's a little cold in here. All right, Joe, what's your cold matchup?
My cold matchup of the week is the Falcons versus the Jets. Both defenses are expected to make some big plays this weekend, so you could see some exciting stuff on the defensive side of the ball, but I'm not very confident in the offense for either of these teams, and I think most likely you're going to see a lot of volume to Garrett Wilson, where they're not going to be good passes. He'll catch enough to be a respectable play. And you'll see Bijan have a good day too. But outside of those two guys, you're not playing anyone from those teams. So Breece Hall, I guess, will be another solid play where you're going to be confident in his floor. But yeah, actually, aside from those three guys, you just want to stay far away from the Falcons and far away from the Jets. And if their defenses do come to play and it's just a stalemate where they're doing a lot of running, a lot of 3-and-outs, then expect it to be a very low scoring game. That's what I see happening. A lot of 3-and-outs, a really low scoring game. You'll see a grind from Brees Hall and a grind from Bijan and a bunch of passes, a bunch of bad passes to Garrett Wilson. It's just going to be an awful game to watch and a low scoring affair.
Yeah, I agree. I'm even scared of starting Bijan if I have him, because the Jets have a pretty good front seven. They could easily just kind of shut down the run, just make it a really ugly, low scoring game. And I think it's in New York. Let me see here. It is Falcons at Jets. Yeah, so if it's an ugly weather game, with raining like it has been miserable lately, that could be a really even miserable day, especially for the Falcons or warm weather team. You could even see it low scoring, right? Brees Hall could also struggle because Falcons are a good run team, is run defense as well. So you're right. That could definitely be a really low, ugly grind fest. And, I don't want any part of it. Maybe as a running back, yeah, you could slowly get your fantasy points, but are they, is it going to be worth the draft capital that you have to pay for them? Probably not. You could probably get a little bit more upside, with certain guys, for those price points for sure.
Yeah, but in a season long, you're probably not going to have a better play than Bijan. So you have to play him. But other than that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You're going to
Yeah.
start him no matter what. And if you have Aaron Rodgers, you're definitely going to bench him. That guy did not tear his Achilles, bro. That was just, I feel like that guy, it's kind of like when that one time Brady hurt his pinky, like when he was with the Buccaneers, and he's like, yeah, I've been playing with a fractured pinky this whole time, And I was like, yeah, bullshit. No one cares, Brady. Like, try to add to your legacy with a fake injury. Like, Aaron Rodgers probably just, like, something happened to him. And they're like, yeah, I just need a fake medical so I can get out of work for a couple months, doc. I just want to go do some ayahuasca,
Oh, man, I think he got hurt.
He's like, yeah, I'll make a fake one for you, bro. Here, let me sign that here.
He's
That
coming
script
back.
for
Did you
you.
see they released him from IR today?
Yeah, he's
Or
activated on
they
the
activated
roster.
him. Yeah. Activated him, yeah.
I don't know, man. That's a
That's a
little
long
sketch to me,
shot. That's
bro.
a long shot. I wouldn't pick him up. But
I
I'd
don't know,
like to
bro.
hang out with him sometime. All right, who's your cold call of the week?
I went with the Panthers versus the Bucks, man. It's gonna be a divisional clash. Um, it's Vegas has them at 36.5 for the spread. That means the refs are gonna be calling a lot of penalties. They're gonna be calling a bunch of stuff back. They're gonna be controlling that game. That's how you know, bro. They're gonna be calling a lot of penalties. Vegas be controlling these damn numbers. But yeah, man, grind fest. Divisional fest. I mean, Panthers have a new coach. Who's even the coach? They fired the coach. They fired the running backs coach and a quarterbacks coach. Josh McCown, Deuce Staley, Frank Reich
Yeah,
are
what the
gone.
fuck, man?
Like,
I
that was
know. All at
crazy.
the same
I
time.
don't. I mean, I figure one would be promoted to the other. That was weird.
Yeah,
I
they
don't know what
usually do
happened,
that.
and those were all like respectable coaches,
I
for
know,
the most
man,
part.
for sure.
It was weird. But so I don't know what's happening there in that team, and then the Bucks might take advantage, but Panthers have a good defense. So I don't know, man. It's not a game I really want to invest a lot in. Even on DraftKings, I'm a little bit skeptical on wasting the money on any of those players. They just seem like they're going to be a little bit risky, especially Rashad White. He's looking around like, 6,200. I'd rather play somebody, Najee Harris at 5,200. He has a little bit more upside for me at that price.
Yeah, I mean, Rashad White's gonna be a rock solid floor, and he's got the upside potential most weeks. Mike Evans is probably a guy that you're gonna want to play too, but I don't know what the rest of your squad looks like in a season long. You're gonna play him though.
Oh yeah, Mike Evans, 2
Oh
touchdowns
yeah.
last week. Like, his only passes are touchdowns. Like, the only receptions he gets a game are always for freaking touchdowns, bro. He's always wide open for a touchdown. It's crazy.
I
Like
know, man. He's
Godwin
always
doesn't
been
get
that
anything.
way.
Poor freaking guy. Baker doesn't even look for him.
I know.
I hate it.
I know. I've
It's
had Godwin on my
ridiculous.
bench in one league all year. I can't trade him. No one wants him. And he's good. It sucks,
I
but
hate it.
whatever.
I hate it. I'd rather
And then
have
I don't
James
think
throwing the
I
ball.
don't think Adam Thielen's the same player that you had confidence in a month ago. So
I got sold high on him. Remember what I said, boys and girls, 4 weeks ago. I got rid of him.
that's
I
right when the
traded him
decline started.
I got James Cook, which ended up being who?
Yeah, James Cook's
Jameer
legit.
Gibbs.
Oh, you
It
did
worked
that? You
out.
did that trade?
Yeah, that's how I got Jameer Gibbs, man. I traded with you for James. I gave you James Cook.
Oh, that's the league you're talking about. Oh yeah, that kept
Yeah,
me
I
alive though.
Adam
That kept me
Thielen.
alive. Yeah, that all
It
started from
did,
Thielen, huh? It's funny
bro.
when
It
you can
all
trace the
started from
time.
Thielen,
It's funny to do that sometimes to trace the timeline back on a trade. You're like, boop, 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 boop. Yeah,
bro. James Cook came from Thielen. That's part of that trade because I just got rid of what's it, Justin Pickens, the wide receiver for
George.
Pittsburgh.
George, yeah. I traded him. I traded
George.
him for James Cook in one league. I traded Pickens high to get James Cook because I needed a running back that week. I didn't even want to do it, but I'm glad I did now.
Bro, it worked out. That was a great trade. I just traded George Pickens today. Sorry, for in that league where I lost Mark Andrews, and I just got Cole Kmet. Equal value. They're both averaging 10 or 11 points, but that's keeping me alive now. Cole Kmet to see if Mark Andrews comes back, so I get a solid 10 points a game tight end. Right, coming off a bye week, so week 13. So we'll see how that works out, but you know got rid of a guy I'm not even going to start because George Pickens, I'm not going to start him for the rest of the year, man.
Probably
Screw
not.
that. I'm
No,
rolling with
we'll see. We'll
DJ
see
Moore and Tank.
well,
Bro,
yeah,
if you
if you
got
got
DJ
options.
Moore and Tank Dell,
Oh yeah,
you're just
yeah,
going to
there's
roll with
no
those
way.
guys.
There's
And
no
then
way.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'll never go past any of those guys.
Oh
You
wait,
know,
no way, no way.
I'm good. All right, big ballers, it's time to let them hang.
That's
Time for
right.
your big balls call of the week. And we're going to go ahead and let Joe let him hang here first. Joe, tell us, what's your big balls call first?
I alluded to this a little bit earlier, but I believe that Zach Moss is going to finish as the RB1 this week. One.
What's your
When he played
prediction for stats?
when he played Tennessee in week 5, as I said earlier, he racked up 195 total yards. It was 165 rushing yards and 30 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. He's playing Tennessee again this week. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be the same game. They're going to have the same offense, same defense, whatever. But I guarantee you, Zach Moss still has a huge day. I'm not going to say 195 total yards, but I'm going to say 100 total yards and 2 touchdowns and finish as the RB1.
All right, I like it. Letting him hang.
That's right. What about you,
All
Manny?
right.
What's your big balls call of the week?
Well, my big balls call. I was thinking about this earlier, and I was like, this is gonna help influence how I do some lineups this week as well. So I alluded to this myself. So I was talking about a cheap value play, Najee Harris today at 5,200 because I like his upside. So I was saying something about I think Najee Harris, the new offensive coordinator for the Steelers, was the running back coach, and I think him and Najee Harris have some history. I don't know exactly the history. I know he coached him before in the past. I don't know if it was in college or another high school or something like that. But obviously, someone can check me and correct me, whatever that history that is. But obviously, we saw it last week. Najee Harris was rejuvenated, a man on fire,
You
and
look
he was
great.
running with authority. I remember one time he ran into a line of scrimmage, and then he just kind of disappeared, and you thought he was down, and all of a sudden, like he moved the line of scrimmage like the whole dog pile 5 more yards up. It was crazy.
Yeah.
and he was just running like we saw him 2 years ago. We haven't seen him run this strong under Matt Canada's tutelage.
Mhm.
So I could see that being a big day for him. I'm going to run several stacks with him and Zach Moss, definitely. I'm very excited about them. So you could see I'll definitely be running some alterations there. But I predict Najee Harris to have 125 rushing yards and a touchdown here tomorrow. The reason why I don't predict them to have more is because obviously they are probably going to give some love to Jalen Warren. Will
Yeah.
I think he'll be as efficient? No, but I think definitely for that particular budget, he will be a really good play, and so you'll get a lot of value for him.
Yeah, I think he's a great play. I think they're both rock solid play for the rest of the season, especially with this revitalized offense. The whole offense looked so much better last week, and I think that's just going to be, the Steelers have somehow stayed alive this long, and I think now they're hungry. All the players alluded to the fact that they were a little happier with Matt Canada gone. They didn't just outright say it, but they kind of did. And if the morale is up, they have a winning record, and the offense starts falling into play, both of those guys are going to have a really good playoff. Uh, Probably going to be someone you can start in your flex spot every week.
Agreed. All right, big ballers. Thank you again for coming by for another wonderful episode of Fantasy Football Fumble over here with us. We do appreciate the love, the support every single week. Sorry we didn't let you guys know we were out for Thanksgiving. It just kind of, we decided to take it off a little bit. It's been busy, it's been hectic, but again, we appreciate the support. Joe, did you have anything to add as well for the viewers here?
No, that's all. We'll probably be off Christmas too, just to give you a heads up. I don't know what day Christmas falls on, but we'll probably just have, maybe a week off in that space around that day sometime too. But other than that, we'll be here keeping you up to date with the player profiles and the weekly episode. And look forward to next week.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the love. You all have a great night. I will see you here same time, same place. Give us a call. Let us know if you have any players you want to see, and we appreciate the support. And don't forget to send us anything else any feedback you hear for the show. Thank you again, guys. Have a good one. Bye bye.